let's say you found a skeleton. How would you tell it to represent you personally? How would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the next Jackson with Jackson, which I believe is 27. Jackson, how are you doing?
I'm being Jackson. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. I got a
Nice.
mojito here. Came from a can, but you know, that's okay. It's decent for a canned mojito, which isn't saying a whole lot. But whatever. You know what? I didn't want another beer. I wanted something different. I want something with some, citrusy, limey rum flavors. So
I have a Fanta. You know you want to.
nice. All right, well, let's take a look at what we've got here. We got a couple things to read. First of all, we have a $5 super chat from Vandalia1998 who says, "A new theory of evolution. I'm sure all the biologists are looking over this obviously peer-reviewed thesis right now. Citation needed." Yeah, seriously. We'll see how this goes. Renee, who's been a member for 2 months and is at the Amniote level, says, "Stream time," which, yes, it is. It is indeed stream time.
Time to get in the stream.
So, before we get
Or
started,
pond.
I do have one other thing to say, which is that, so as you guys know, we have as sort of like stream, like, fundraising goals for the channel. One of the things that happens when we hit certain numbers is that, we have things like, I'll change up which avatar I use. And you might have noticed that I put out 2 polls recently about which avatar to use, and that is because I have slightly changed the rules for that, and now Gift Wish purchases will contribute to new avatars. And recently, someone got me a rather expensive item from the wish list, so that was worth 2 whole things, and there's also $19.02 left over. So we're on like a $19.02 head start on the next fancy avatar. Which also means that, if you get me something from the wish list, it'll get tacked on next time. And that head start won't go away until an actual avatar is, unlocked. I don't know. So yeah, there you go. That's one quick change. Now, Jackson, are you ready for the drinking rules?
Yes, I am prepared.
All right, the first drinking rule is we take a drink if Good Jackson here laughs during the explanation of the drinking rules.
Hey.
That counts. That counts too. We're taking 2 drinks.
Oh.
Okay. So, the next rule is, of course, that we will take a drink anytime the creationist is just so stupid that we kind of have to, just to cool our brains down. Which is one of our more common drink triggers, because, jeez, does it get dumb. We'll also, though, take a drink anytime they get something that is actually factually correct. And that has to be something that's not just right off of a slide from a quotation from someone. It actually has to come out of the creationist brain. Because, anyone can cite something and accurately report what it said. That's not very impressive. So, we'll also take a drink if the creationist tells a joke that doesn't land, or tells a story that didn't happen. For example, if Dr. Charles Jackson tells a story about how he was on an airplane with a Berkeley professor who didn't know anything about anything, apparently, and he converted him to Christianity while on the plane, and then the entire airplane worth of passengers stood up and clapped and praised Jesus. Yeah, there's probably a story that didn't happen, so we're going to take a drink for that. We'll also take a drink if Dr. Charles Jackson mixes up what we can know about human evolution from just the one specimen, Lucy, versus any wider information about the taxon that we might have from other specimens. So, for instance, if he says, well, we don't know what Australopithecus feet look like because Lucy wasn't found with feet. Well, other Australopithecus specimens were, so that's called an ad hominid. We only get 1 ad hominid per stream. We'll also get one called Trojan Source. If the creationist bothers to cite a source, which they usually don't, but if they do, and we check that source, and the source directly contradicts, rather than just failing to confirm the contention of the creationist, we'll take a drink for that. We'll also take a drink anytime the creationists mention the leaders of Germany back in, the 1940s. Let's see, we'll also take a drink. There's a few ways you guys can do it. One is we will take a drink if anyone super chats or milestone membership chats anything that has any of the kaiju emojis. That includes Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, which you do have to be a channel member in order to get. If you want, you can join the channel right below, or you can wait till you get a gifted membership, because also we take a drink for each gifted membership up to about 30 or so, at which point I'm just going to drain the drink I have. and get another one, and then add that number to the count. Let's see. There's also, if anyone super chats or milestone chats anything to the effect that AIG are a bag of dicks, we will take a drink. Now, you do have to be clever, because YouTube will just censor it if it's just, you just type in AIG is a bag of dicks. Additionally, we may or may not get an audible visit from Mothra or Godzilla, in which case we'll take a drink, and that's somewhat random. Jackson, have I missed any that you're aware of? Oh, predictions. Jackson or I can successfully predict. Yes. There's also Dapper's a professional moments. So, if I leave a hot mic on, or if I leave myself muted, or something like that, or I switch scenes and come back and I have the intro movie back playing, any kind of production errors. That's Dapper's a professional. Let me take a drink for that, because I'm a professional.
Nice.
Good, Jackson. Are you ready to go?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, this is a brand new video. We have not seen this video. I mean, I skimmed through it to see if it was even halfway worth putting up here. But yeah, I don't remember what's said in here. Jackson has never even heard of this video. So here we go.
One random act of fashion tonight. This was given to me, this shirt here, was given to me by one of my board of directors who lives in Chillicothe, Ohio. And it says here, Freud is dead, Marx is dead, and Darwin isn't feeling very well. And
Wow.
At least answered our question we had earlier. We were when I came on, we were both like, "What's on his shirt? What is it?"
Well, I knew it was Marx and Darwin, right? Because those are the famous pictures of Marx and Darwin, but I didn't recognize Freud. Yeah, so that's a cringy shirt.
In the sense that their philosophies are dead, or just that they're dead, because I'm pretty sure Darwin's been dead since 1882.
Well, yeah, it's got to be something about their scientific or philosophical positions, and Freud's ideas have basically all been pretty much just kind of tossed away as pseudoscience. As far as Marx, I mean, he's popular, but then again, his ability to be a historical prognosticator has proved to be basically worthless, right?
Right, because none of his labor theory of value is wrong.
Yeah, as it turns out, it's just a dumb theory of value. It doesn't actually work. It doesn't help you predict how people are going to act in real life. And his ideas about the capitalist countries will come to have a socialist revolution, and then that way they'll. Yeah, no, none of that has happened. The only places that have had anything close to the revolutions he was talking about were all pre-capitalist societies, and most of them have then turned into capitalist societies after trying to do communism and failing utterly to actually get there. So, I mean, look, a lot of the things that Marx talked about, things the ability of workers to unite together to get better working conditions and all that. That's true. I mean, we've seen that demonstrated pretty easily. But some of the other stuff, it's just Marx is...
I mean, the concept of the exploitation of a working class by, an exploitative class is
oh, yeah.
I mean, okay, fair, but is that really a new concept? I mean,
So the problem is most of the new stuff that he added to it, things like the labor theory of value and his use of it to determine the degree to which certain people are being exploited by capitalists.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't actually work out in real life.
Right.
Also,
and I mean, a lot of it's critique. It's interpretive critique of history and economics. Yeah. It's not when people say Marxist theory or the theory of Marxism, whatever. It's not a scientific theory. It's not making predictions in any real sense about what's going to happen in the future. I guess other than there will be struggles between the bourgeoisie and proletariat, which I don't know.
Marx had some pretty concrete predictions about how he thought history was going to work based on how he thought it already had worked.
Well, I mean, I think what hasn't been shown to be demonstrably false at this point is some very kind of minor prediction, if you want to even call it that, just statements about history. But Marxism is, it's an interpretive framework.
True.
Right? So it's not a theory in the way that, evolution's a theory or Big Bang or what have you.
No, certainly not. No.
So,
I mean, it's not even science. It's not even a thing about science, right?
Right.
All right. And as far as Darwin goes, I mean, Darwin's ideas themselves, many of them were wrong and have been discarded already, but some weren't, and it's
Natural selection still going pretty strong.
yeah. And the thing is, it's just another example of creationists treating Darwin like he's the great prophet of science or of biology or whatever. It's like, no, that's not how anyone thinks. That's not how anyone in the scientific community thinks of Darwin. I'm not going to say that's how no one thinks of Darwin. I don't know. But that's just generally not how he's treated in the scientific community. He's a cool guy who got some things right in the past, and we've moved on. Which is the same for Newton, right? Newton wasn't right about everything, and what he was right about was incomplete. And it's the same thing with Darwin. Does that mean that Newton his ideas are dead? No. I mean, go ahead and take any physics class that isn't like, an advanced theoretical physics class. You're going to use a lot of Newton, right? Engineers are using Newton every single day. So, yeah. Anyway, here we go.
Icons of humanism, the leaders of humanism. So,
they're the icons of humanism. Okay, I'm just going to take a drink.
Are they?
No.
I didn't think so.
Nope. Freud is just a guy who tried to turn psychology into a science but failed. Marx is someone who might be popular with some humanists, but there's no definite connection between being a Marxist and being a humanist.
Yeah.
And Charles Darwin, I mean, yeah, most humanists
wasn't even a humanist.
Yeah, he wasn't a humanist. Yeah, like, I guess most humanists probably aren't evolution deniers, but like to say that makes them followers of Darwin is quite a stretch, right?
Yeah, like he was definitely not a humanist. I mean, he nodded approvingly towards eugenics, So to call him a humanist is quite a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why I'm wearing the shirt, actually, because it's in the spirit of what we talked about last night and what we're going to talk about tonight.
If that's the spirit of what they talked about the night before, then that's just cringe.
Well, I mean, look, he's giving a young Earth creation talk at a church. It's going to be cringe.
I mean, that's fair. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
I do like what Ron was talking about a little while ago. He said that, made that quote of there's three kinds of truth: your truth, my truth, and the truth. That's very interesting, and it's
really kind of dumb, but okay, sure.
Very relevant to everything we're talking about. The philosophy of science. I was talking to Danielle. Where are you still here, Danielle?
That reminds me, there's one thing I want to talk about with the whole, like, your truth thing. What people usually mean when they say, like, your truth is, why don't you explain your particular subjective experiences that you've had throughout your life?
Mm-hmm.
And no one can say that you didn't have those subjective experiences, right? Because they're subjective experiences. They're entirely unique to you and internal to your mind.
Right.
And so that's what that means, right? No one's like saying, oh, it's your truth that this table is actually 7 feet tall, when in fact it's only half a meter tall. Like, that's not what anyone means by your truth, right? Your truth is things like, how did your upbringing affect how you feel about this thing? Or like, how did it affect your future behavior in regards to people of this demographic as a result of this incident in your life where you were a victim of such and such? Like, yeah, those are your truth, right? People who talk about that are not talking about, like, scientific discoveries about physics or biology. Or at least they shouldn't be, because if they are, then that's really dumb. And in my experience, they're usually not. As to Antediluvian was Eddie Ecker in Ryu for $4.99 says, as opposed to the idol of testosterone that is AIG. Wait, I think I'm thinking of an organ instead. I'll take a drink. Very nice.
She said, well, it's hard to keep the Christianity and learn the science with Christianity in mind. And I said, well, now be careful not to do this Christianity and science thing, because science is truth. Evolution.
I don't know. I personally don't know any Christians who have any problem with learning science. I don't know. I think that's a little.
I know some young earthers who do.
Okay, well, yes. I mean, I really don't know any, like, young earthers in my daily life.
Yeah.
All the Christians I know have no problem with science, evolution, whatever. So it's a little interesting that he's talking with someone there who is a young earther who has problems squaring the science with their young earth creationism.
Yeah, this is a problem that certain groups of Christians bring on themselves, right? Like, you don't have to have this problem if you don't want to.
Right.
You could just not. It's what most Christians do. But hey, you know what? I'm not your theological professor. I'm not your confessor. I'm not your priest. I'm not your spiritual father. I'm none of those things, right? I'm just some asshole on the internet. So what do I know? DM artificially selected Sarah Thompson Wayne for $2. Or sorry, yeah, no, $2. Says AIG is a box of Freudian cigars with no smoking. Take a drink for that. Thank you very much. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
No, ceci n'est pas un cigare.
Actually, I don't even... it probably is something like cigare in French for cigar. Because I'm thinking, like, I don't know the French word for cigar off the top of my head.
Isn't
I
science?
also don't.
Well, that's... You know what? You live in Louisiana where people speak French, Jackson. I would expect
Literally
you,
no one I know speaks French. Not a
Jackson,
single person.
The fact that you're not fluent in French is horribly disappointing to me and everyone else in the audience.
The audience is also my parents now?
Yes. Congratulations. We got a whole bunch of new parents now.
Oh, man.
All right,
Can I at
everybody
least
in
get
the
some money?
chat, scold Jackson for not being fluent in French. Scold
Boo.
him.
Don't equate evolutionary thinking with science. Evolution is a philosophy. It's evolution.
It's a part of science, right? You can disagree with it. You can think it's wrong, but it's still part of science. And here's the thing, right? Now disproven theories about how the universe works were part of science back before they were disconfirmed and just kind of assigned to the trash bin of scientific history, right? Like phlogiston theory, which was a previous theory about how fire worked before oxygen theory came about. That was part of science. It was wrong, but it was part of science. Right? Geoheliocentrism, which was a stopgap between geocentrism and full heliocentrism, which actually, when it was proposed, was doing a better job of predicting the location of planets and the sun and the moon in the sky than was straight up heliocentrism at the time because of some philosophical problems that heliocentrists had. That was part of science. It's not anymore. But while it is still the current, dominant theory in a particular field in science, it is part of science. Pretending that it's not is just lying to your students or church members or whatever you want to call them. Asked to Antediluvian was Eddie Akron Ryu for $9.99 says, the problem you touch on with the young earth creationists is why I hate anti-theists. Yeah, you can find some problematic views in any text, but you can just choose not to believe them. Which, to be fair, most Christians do, right? Most Christians aren't out there like, oh, hey, you have a rebellious and gluttonous son, we should probably stone that guy. Right? Like, as far as I know, there's no community of people out there who are currently advocating for using that part of the Bible literally. Right. And there's all sorts of other stuff about that, right? Like, most Christians aren't out there like, yeah, you should really only get married if you can't keep it in your pants and it's the only way for you to not just be wildly promiscuous. But that's what Paul says to do in the New Testament. They can't even use the, well, that's the Old Testament excuse. Like, no. Paul says, you should be chaste. And the only reason you should ever get married is if you absolutely can't hack it. And yeah, he discourages you from getting married unless you absolutely have to. And then only so that you can hack relative chastity by having sex within that marriage. Right? Like, no one cares about this. Because this is presenting a sexual ethic that no one really cares about. The same thing with divorce, right? Most Christians are like, yeah, okay, divorce is a thing that happens. Even though in the New Testament, it seems like it's only allowable in cases of infidelity. Yeah. People have kind of moved on. And that happens all the time. And part of the reason for that is because the Bible doesn't actually present a completely unified, coherent moral framework that you can just adopt. If you want to get your morality from the Bible, you're going to have to negotiate which parts of it you're going to take seriously and which parts you're not going to. Because if you take them all seriously, you come to contradictions. Right? Like, should divorce be something that only the husband can do and for any reason? Or should it be something that only the husband can do but only for reasons of marital infidelity? Or should the wife be able to initiate a divorce in certain cases? Or in any cases where the man can? Yeah, you're going to have to look somewhere besides just reading the Bible to get the answer to that question. So, here we go.
As Ron was saying to us. And how many of you heard that
Did his voice just break? How many of you heard?
Hey, this is back in the old days. He was still young.
It's true. He was probably 14 when this was. It was a very, very hirsute 14-year-old.
This year, we decided Pluto is not a planet. Haven't you heard that? Yes, Pluto has been demoted.
I mean, it's a dwarf planet. So, I don't know.
And I mean, This is kind of like the lumpers versus splitters issue in biology, right? The Pluto is a planet if you decide that, you know, a celestial body with a certain size or mass or whatever counts as a planet in the same way that, like,
Yeah.
you know, a species is, you know, you can define it in some arbitrary way and say, okay, you know, this is our rigorous definition. Anything on one side of the line is a species, anything on the other side is not a species. And like, okay, literally nothing about Pluto or about any population changes whether or not it's a planet or a dwarf planet or a species or not, right? Like,
yeah, it's
nothing
just
about it
how we
changes.
talk about it. And yeah, as Landon Knoll points out, dwarf planets are planets. I mean, yeah, it's just that you have to put the little adjective on there. And also, for $2, My Unfinished Chapter 1 says, Jackson should clean the bag of AIG from his room. Ooh, I hope he means bad Jackson. Actually, you know what? I don't know. Good Jackson, you might have a bag of AIG. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, I wouldn't suggest anyone go in my closet, but, you know.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Demoted to like planetesimal,
Dwarf planet, dude. It's not that hard.
planetoid, or asteroid. There, you know all about that, don't you? Yeah.
It's an asteroid.
Well,
Yeah, there's absolutely no way Pluto was demoted to asteroid. For one thing, it's primarily icy, not rocky. So if anything, it could, I guess, be a gigantic comet. But it's not that either. Because it's round under its own gravity, right? Its shape is at hydrostatic equilibrium. So yeah, it's a dwarf planet.
Dapper, we redefine all planets as just giant comets. All celestial bodies are just comets.
Mercury's a comet, Jupiter's a comet. Who cares? Earth, you're on a comet, everybody. Why do we need to send, probes to various comets to see what they're made of? We can just check Earth, right? That's how it works. We just redefined it. It's great science.
you know what? Pluto doesn't care.
Did he add an extra syllable? Did you say Pluto?
It's like when people say, I'm cold.
Pluto is the evil twin of Pluto, and it sends pollution to Earth. It's not actually the oil companies, it's Pluto. Jester Lord of Fools for $2 says, AIG is a trash bag? I'm going to go with trash bag. There we go, that's what I'm going to go with. Full of unholy enchiladas. Thank you very much, I'm going to take a drink.
It just, that's 40 times the distance away from the sun that we are. It's way, way far out there. And, Pluto is just, probably haven't heard about it. If Pluto has just gone on like it
that's
always
true.
has, and
He's
really
not wrong.
doesn't care.
Yeah, we'll take a drink. He is right. I mean, Pluto does not at all care what humans call it. It makes no difference to Pluto. Pluto is the same object it always was. So, you know what? Good job. Let's see. Charles Jackson trying to channel Freddie Mercury, says Crafty Siren, who's been a member for 8 months. Yeah, I mean, look, this would be much more fun for me. Maybe not for you guys, but for me, if it were Freddie Mercury just singing. Singing "I Want to Ride My Bicycle." That's the Queen song I would prefer to hear right over Charles Jackson. What about you, good Jackson? What Queen song do you think would be better as a soundtrack for this video than whatever it is that Bad Jackson is saying?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, of course you would pick Bohemian Rhapsody. It's so basic.
Yeah, true. I'm a basic white girl. What can I say?
And when we argue about the nature of the universe and the origin of the universe and all the meaning and the truth and how the world got started and how life got started and how the universe got started and what happened at the Big Bang, you know what? All of that is history.
No, actually, it's not. It's in the past. But technically, the field of history is the study of the past in terms of humans with using writing as its source. So if you don't have anything written down about it by contemporaneous sources, it's not actually history, it's something else. Like cosmology, or biology, or paleontology, or geology, or physics, or something like that. Yep, that's also why I've had some people say, like, hey, Dapper, how come people don't think that history started in, and they'll pick someplace in, North America, I don't know, Maine, until after Europeans showed up? It's like, Well, because they were the first people to write things down there. And that's what history is. It starts when people write stuff down.
Right. So there are literally prehistoric populations alive today.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Virtually everything that happens on like North Sentinel Island or like parts of the inner Amazon or inner Congo is currently prehistory. Because we don't have anyone who's there writing it down. So, yeah. It's not a judgment call on those people there. It's just that's what history is. It's the study of it's the study of changes, continuities, discontinuities in the human past through the lens of the writings of humans from those time periods. And if you can't get that information, then you're not doing history. Gary Bronson for $5 says, "Forget Queen. I want it that way over this for Bad Jackson's goals."
Yeah.
Nice.
It's historical. There is a way that it all happened.
That's true. We'll take a drink. There is, in fact, a true past to the universe. Our ability to uncover what that is, it varies. Jake Nelson, who's been a member for 13 months and is at the tetrapod level, says, "Had a great AIG limerick, but YouTube blocked it." Tell you what, I'm feeling generous and I'm thirsty. I'll take a drink for it.
I like the idea that the show just becomes like Charles Jackson saying like the most basic observations about the nature of reality, and we're just like, yeah, that's technically true, I guess.
Yeah.
Take a drink.
Like, have you guys noticed how there's matter and energy and space and time all over the place? Like, I have noticed, actually. Yeah, that's good point, I guess.
And it doesn't change just because someone's winning an argument here, sitting on a park bench or debating.
He's just saying that because he's real mad he lost an argument on a park bench.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, yeah, that's true. The actual past of the universe doesn't change based on what you believe about it. But so what? No one is saying that it does. At least no one that I know of. Savage Geological Species Concept for $5 says, "The appropriate soundtrack for Bad Jackson attempting to explain astronomy is Yakety Sax, especially with that t-shirt." Yeah, no, that could work. Jake Nelson says, "Now I can't super chat anything?" Oh, they might have... Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that might be like a thing that they're doing to you because you tried to super chat something they didn't like. That's not on me. I did not choose that. So yeah, sorry, that sucks. Can you still gift memberships? I don't know. That really sucks. Hopefully it's a timed thing. I don't know how to fix that. If anyone who's savvy on like how YouTube works and whatnot wants to look into that, it would be appreciated.
Or something like that. Science's job is to discover what happened, not to prove your theories are true.
I mean,
kind of?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I mean, I think it's weird you're referring to them as proving theories because, well, one, yeah, you don't prove anything in science, but also it's not theories that you're trying to prove. You're trying to demonstrate the validity of a hypothesis, which is not interchangeable with a theory.
Jake Nelson has updated us. There once was a ham in Kentucky who made the internet unlucky. He thought he was slick, built a boat out of sticks, and his organization is a bag of ellipses. Yes. I'm sorry that got you somehow banned from sending super chats. That's... I mean, I assume you actually typed in dicks, but like, yeah, that's some BS right there. Fitzo trilobites are the smallest animal rage for $2. Says, "I picked Prophet Song for Jackson's Queen song." Okay. Good Jackson. Did you know that in fact trilobites are the smallest animal ever? All right. Yeah.
Trilobites are the smallest animal ever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Graham Pettis said it, so you know it's true.
Who's that?
He's some guy who does like Christian apologetics, and occasionally that includes anti-evolution stuff on YouTube. And at first, I thought that he was only kind of loosely influenced by Kent Hovind, but no, he's just like Wish.com Kent Hovind.
So we should introduce him to the concept of fairy wasps, I guess.
I mean, there's so many concepts he needs to be introduced to. But yeah, like that's one of them. Yeah, like fairy wasps and fairy flies, or just tardigrades, rotifers,
Yeah.
C. elegans.
I was just thinking within Arthropoda. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, within arthropoda, yeah, there's still lots of smaller things. And if you just go with like any animals, I mean, what about myxozoans, which can have like a few dozen cells?
yeah.
Oh,
Silly little guy.
and Jake Nelson can't give memberships either? What, you try to do one dirty limerick and then YouTube just shuts you down? That blows, man. If you really want to like super chat something and like have me read it out, I guess you can send it. I'm trying to think like what's a good way to make that work. I don't know, man. I don't know what the solution is. Hopefully it's just a time thing.
That's sociology. That's philosophy. That's psychology, and it's
That's not sociology or psychology.
Have you considered that, like, coming up with scientific hypotheses about the past is really just sociology, Dapper?
No, actually, I had never considered that because that's incredibly dumb, and I reject that out of hand. Jeez. Oh, now let's see. We got 5 gifted memberships from Faye to Gray. Stop Polluto now. Oh man, you guys and your names are amazing. Donald Jaramillo, I'm sorry if it's Jaramillo, like please let me know. Sydney Raptor, Brian Stevens, Lorraine Drosophila, and Tsar Nirankar all got memberships gifted to them, as well as Jester Lord of Fools, who's been a member for 3 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, "You gotta get that bypass game going, Jake," with the rock and the on arrow. And D-Boop, who's been a member for 8 months and is at the annual level, says, "From Jackson Mercenary, Fat Bottom BS makes the YEC world go round." Ooh, yeah, I didn't think about parody Queen songs. But let's get those 5 drinks in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But we also have some bad news, everybody. And that is that we have 47 likes, but 127 concurrent viewers, which means less than half of you have hit like, which means, of course, I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. So, why don't you hit like so you don't get Bilbo'd again? Jeez, come on, guys. Help me out.
not science. Science is the search for the truth, the effort to understand the world.
I mean, it's more like the search to be less wrong over time. Which, but I'm not going to sit here and nitpick it too much.
That's what Linus Pauling said, two-time Nobel Prize winner, and unlike Al Gore, he won a Nobel Prize in science.
Okay.
This must have been made in like the early aughts or late 90s, one of the two.
Who's still talking about Al? The only time I talk about Al Gore is when I make fun of him for that time he said he invented the internet.
Wait a second. Are you telling me Al Gore did not, in fact, invent the internet?
Yes, as it turns out, he did not, in fact, invent the internet.
Dapper, I am reeling from this information that Al Gore did not, in fact, invent the internet.
I will also occasionally gripe about the fact that his movie, Inconvenient Truth, probably actually set back environmentalism more than it helped because of the things that he said in there that were actually verifiably untrue, but were rhetorically useful if you didn't look into them. But it was then torn to shreds somewhat legitimately by people who were like, hey, this is all nonsense, which, yeah, a lot of it was. So thanks, Al Gore, for setting back the cause of, climate change activism by, 5 or 6 years at best.
Yeah, and also there's been studies on, or surveys really, on how people respond to things like, people respond very poorly in general to proclamations like, in 20 years the ice caps are going to melt or something like that. And usually that is wrong.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons they respond to it poorly.
Right, yeah, I mean, it's trying to, shock people sometimes with predictions like that can have negative backfire effects, which then detracts from people accepting the fact that the Earth is warming and it is caused by human interactions, because now they're like, well, how am I going to believe that when you told me this other thing that was wrong? It's like, yeah, it really does hurt us in the long run. So
yeah, really, making sensationalist claims that are probably not true, it's not helpful. And I get it that you think it might galvanize people. It's not. It's not going to. The people who are currently galvanized were already galvanized. And the people you're trying to galvanize are just going to be turned off by the fact that you're wrong about that. Let's see. Meldaborn, who's been a member for 16 months, is at the Saropsid level. Thank you very much. Says, science is about coming up with ideas that could explain the current data and then attempting to falsify those ideas to see which can withstand intense scrutiny and make accurate predictions. Yes, that is a much more accurate thing to say. Savage Geological Species Concept Cobra, for $5, says, AIG is a bag of the man from Nantucket's most prominent feature. Take a drink. Jake Nelson, for $10, says, if it works, here is your money. Well, thank you very much. It did work. I do appreciate that. And hey, we're on pace to get an avatar. Like another fancy avatar. I could do 3 in a row at this pace. So
Noble Al Gore won an Oscar, and the Nobel.
Wait, did he win an Oscar?
No idea.
I mean, I don't know, but that seems weird.
Give that man an
Prize.
Oscar.
Oscar is not for science. That's for
It's for filmmaking.
Showmanship, acting. Yes, he was a good actor.
No, just general filmmaking. He wasn't an actor in that movie. That's not a thing. Jeez, come on, man.
So I will also tell you the next book that I want to read. So we're doing the Ancestor's Tale right now. I decided the next thing that we want to read, we'll do like an antagonistic book review.
Ooh.
Will be a book titled what is it? Inconvenient Facts Al Gore Doesn't Want You to Know.
Oh goodness.
And I was like, okay, this book must have been written in the early 2000s or something. Nope. 2017.
Jeez.
Or published in 2017,
goodness.
I should say.
2017?
Yep, and I was floored when I saw the publication date. I was like, I would have bet the house it was around the year 2000.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Nope. How wrong was I?
Wow, that's quite the thing. Asta Antediluvian was Eddie Acker in Ryu for $4.99 says AIG is the diatribe of whatever rule blocked Jake Nelson from sending super chats for 15 minutes. I'll take a drink for that. Al Trucker, who's been a member for 10 months, is at the Amniote level. Thank you very much. Says AIG is a corrupt cabal of Well, it says Coke, but it's spelled like the French for a male of the species Gallus domesticus. Collected in a cobalt can constructed of candied derriere, devoid of detailed demonstratives developing detractors. We're going to take a drink. And April Van Ryn, who's been a member for 10 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, you can use Steamboat Dapper if you like with a Godzilla. Hey, you know what? Maybe Steamboat Dapper will make a return if we get enough today. Remember, we do have a head start because of the generosity of one fan, who I'm sure I'll end up thanking on Saturday or something by name once the item comes in and I have the gift card so I can read out anything that they want me to say. So yeah, we have a head start.
Well, okay, let's go on with what we want to do. Last night we talked about the death of Darwinism this year, and I told you that I was going to talk about...
I feel like it's not that year anymore, and Darwinism in the sense of evolutionary biology hasn't died, but what do I know?
Tonight...
A lot? Thank you.
I'd say a lot. I'd say you know a lot.
Oh, well that's nice to hear, because I still sometimes feel dumb.
The new Darwinism.
New Darwinism.
New little thing the evolutionists are going to cook up and dish out of their pot of stew of philosophical apologetics for their failing.
Okay, so 2005. Hey,
so
how's evolution doing here? Some 20-ish, almost 20 years later, 19 years later. Seems like it's doing okay.
I mean, yeah, considering that Charles Jackson here did a discussion with Dan Stern Cardinal on the endogenous retroviruses being evidence for evolution, and Charles Jackson basically kind of conceding all of the points to Dan throughout the course of the discussion. So I don't know, it seems to be doing okay, I guess.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Bits of Al Gore is the Pope of Climatology Rage. Just gifted 1 membership and it went to Mira DeFalco. Thank you very much. Just took a drink for it. David DB22585, who's been a member for 17 months and is at the annual level, says, to be fair, in 2017, South Park hadn't yet acknowledged the existence of Man Bear Pig. All right, you have a point there. Let's see. Donald... Okay, I'm not sure if it's Daramillo or Jaramillo or, like, Jaramillo. I'm not sure. Please let me know, because I don't want to get this wrong. But says for $2, with their first Super on a live stream, AIG is a bouquet of Lily Stamen. Nice. Getting some other taxonomics, taxa male members in there. I like it. Take a drink. Which actually, it is time to crack open this next mojito, because a lot of what's left in this glass is just ice melt. Which is not what I want. I want mojito. That's why I got a mojito. Alright. Pour in some more mojito. I like the mintiness, you know? It's like I'm brushing my teeth, except it's way worse for my teeth than brushing my teeth, which is good for my teeth. But then again, you know, being polyphenol, I don't have to worry as much about my teeth as you stupid mammals do with your, like, oh, I have 2 sets of teeth for my entire lifetime, and that's it, and then I die. Like, or just not have lots of sets of teeth like me, right? I lose teeth every few days. It's no big deal. I just grow another one.
Must be nice.
It is nice, actually.
Doom
I can
theory.
do Dapper, I could pick up this thing that I dropped with my hand and my thumb.
I have a
Nerd.
thumb. It's just, you know, not opposable.
I usually do this presentation in 1 part, but we're doing it in 2 parts, so I'm able to elaborate and reiterate a few things tonight.
Oh, does that mean I have another video to go down and download for when this is done?
I mean, looks like it, or sounds like it.
Oh, goody. Jackson, you're going to be doing this show until you die.
I hope that's sooner rather than later.
That I mentioned yesterday, and also bring out some more details about. And please remember that what I'm going to show you a bunch of things that's happening as evolutionists are trying to crank out a new theory. But what happens in the future, what happens beyond what I report to you, I will guess about, and I will give you my guesses and what other creationists are.
Guys, we're going to get Charles Jackson's 2005 predictions about how the theory of evolution is going to look in the future. And here, guess where we are? We're in the future. Oh, this is going to be exciting. I'm very happy about this. Oh, man.
Saying about it, and even what evolutionists are saying about it, but no one really knows what they're going to do next. And so what my prognostications come out, I'm not responsible for it. I'm not claiming any gift of being able to know what they're about to do. I do claim a gift from God and being able to give an answer to any man that asks a reason for the hope that is within me.
Holy crap. If Charles Jackson thinks that his knowledge of science and how he confronts the science that he doesn't like is a gift from God, that God must just be an idiot.
Or just really mean to Charles Jackson. Just keep leading him astray.
I'm just
like, it'd be really funny if he said this.
I'm just going to take a drink because Charles Jackson apparently thinks that his anti-science nonsense is divinely inspired. And he's this bad at it. Which is just... Oh my goodness. Imagine the arrogance it takes to think like, oh yeah, no, my critiques of evolution are totally... They're from God. Yep. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, okay. Alright, Savage, Geological Species Concept Cobra for $2 says, oh look, a testable prediction, right, and we're already in the future, so we can already check.
And so they can't win debates. No way. Okay.
He's still really mad about
losing I mentioned last night. Here.
Yeah, apparently. That's the new background story for Charles Jackson. It's like that's his origin story. He was sitting on a park bench one day, and some evolutionist came up and absolutely trounced him in a debate. And suddenly he was like, "Oh, well, this cannot stand," and he became Charles Jackson, defender of the stupidest version of Christianity possible. Oh.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, cool.
Here lies old Earth evolution, March 25th, 2005, rest in peace. That's talking about the soft tissues found in dinosaurs and mastodons.
First of all, mastodons
that were around yeah. I mean, mastodons were around like a couple thousand years ago. I don't think anybody is surprised that there's still soft tissue in their remains.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, guys, we have mastodons with soft tissue remains. Yeah. Yeah, that's... Okay, no one's surprised by this.
That is a thing we have had for
hundreds of years.
Over a century by now, yeah.
Serious, this isn't news. The dinosaur soft tissue...
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, the dinosaur soft tissue thing is also a non-starter, but I feel like he's going to get more into it.
Right, like there was mastodon soft tissue before evolution became a theory, you know?
Oh, Borg Emporia points out that I forgot... Oh no, it was Alex Mark who... wait, who did it? Fearmonger! Nah, sorry, I'm looking all over the place. You forgot to add Mensa member to his title. That's a good point. Bad Jackson is indeed a member of Mensa, which is a group of people who like to brag about being in Mensa. Mm-hmm. As far as I can tell, that's all that is.
The Moa, the Maiasaur...
Again,
the Moa?
Again, something that died out within the last, couple hundred years.
Yeah, a few hundred years.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm taking a drink. Although, to be fair, that is dinosaur soft tissue.
I mean, yeah. You got me there.
I have a video where someone's like, look at this dinosaur foot, and look how well preserved it is. You're telling me this is millions of years old? And it's a frickin' Moa foot. And I'm like, no,
amazing.
I'm not telling you that's millions of years old. Because that's the foot of a Moa that died probably 300 years ago and was preserved in a cave. Like, no one's going to tell you that this is millions of years old. Although, good job on admitting that birds are dinosaurs, I guess. And as to Antediluvian was Eddie Acker and Ryu for $4.99 says, I would dispute the claim that YEC is the dumbest form of Christianity, but then I realized most YECs should be flirfs for hermeneutics. Godzilla. We'll take a drink. And yeah, okay. I hesitate to say that young Earth creationism is less dumb than flat Earth on its own, but most flat Earthers are also young Earth creationists. So it's like it's not usually a one or the other. It's like you're a young Earth creationist who isn't a flurf, or you're a young Earth creationist who is a flurf, and yeah, that's dumber. So. Yeah, I don't know.
And the Triceratops, the T-Rex, the Santana-raptor, all those different kinds of things. And that, of course, is a problem for evolutionists. And they're still reeling from the effects of that discovery 2 years ago. With
No one's reeling from that. All right, Donald Jaramillo, soft tissue from the dodo. That was for $2. Thank you for the pronunciation guide. No, so we do have some soft tissue from dodos, right? Because there are some taxidermy specimens. We have some feathers.
We got their genome and stuff.
We have their genome, yeah. So we do have some soft tissue from dodos, yep. DM artificially selected ceratopsian wing for $2 says, Mastodon, pterodactyl, saber-toothed tiger, Tyrannosaurus, and then also puts in a Brachiosaurus, which, I mean, there was like a Brachiosaurus sword in the Carrier Zord. And then Tommy did later on become the Dino Thunder Black Ranger who had Brachiosaurus as his Zord. But anyway, I do appreciate the Power Rangers. And yes, we are planning to watch Power Rangers after this. So if you are a channel member or a patron and you want to come by the supporters Discord, we will be watching 4 episodes of Power Rangers Wild Force, which does not have any Brachiosaurus. Or it does have a dinosaur because there's an eagle. But it doesn't have any Mesozoic fauna. It's all extant fauna from various jungles plus a bison for some reason.
No acceptable answers. But there's much, much more that is causing them consternation.
Oh?
Much, much more that's giving them terrible problems and causing them to have to find a new paradigm. We'll talk.
Tremo, who's been a member for 4 months, says, Mothra Ghidorah flying. Wish I could. It would be nice to be able to fly. We'll take a drink, though. All right, here we go.
About what that's basically a lens through which you see everything. It's basically, in the scientific world, it's the equivalent of the term worldview, which Ron went over a great deal yesterday. And so did Dr. Sharp on the videos. Next. This is Marcus Ross, a professor at Liberty University. Marcus made the New York
creationist.
Mm-hmm, he is. Actually, he was one of the authors on that paper that was tearing apart Gabriella Haynes' paper about Archaeopteryx. He was not a fan. And he and I actually have about the same takes on that paper. Yeah, I read it with Vishanti and Joel Duff on my channel. On the channel, we didn't read through every word because a lot of it's kind of boring. But yeah, we did a quick paper review of that, and I had read it all beforehand. And yeah, I mean, to be fair to Marcus Ross, he's a step up from the average young Earth creationist. But as we'll see, that might not mean all that much.
York Times this year for getting his doctoral degree from University of Rhode Island.
For him.
And he's a creationist. I've known Marcus.
What's up?
I was like, bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, look, here's the thing, right? People should not be denied PhDs for the reason that they are young Earth creationists. However, if you're trying to do a young Earth creation-focused PhD, where you're just lying about science, because remember, you cannot be well-informed and honest while doing science and a young Earth creationist. It's not going to work. Then yeah, you should be blocked from getting that PhD, right? Just like I'm not going to get a PhD in, like, I don't know, Earth sciences while being a flat earther. It's not going to work, right? I'm not going to be able to actually produce work that actually meets the standards needed. So, I don't know all the details, but if Marcus Ross is trying to get a PhD on the basis of young Earth creation affirming research, it's not going to work because he's not going to be able to pass the standards because his work isn't going to be accurate enough. It's going to have huge problems. Let's see. Asta Antediluvian was Eddie Acker and Ryu for $4.99 trying to put my hypothetical kids through college. I mean, some of our guests would say some dinosaurs, like myself, can fly. I would say that most extant dinosaurs can fly. That's what I would say. And many extinct dinosaurs could fly. Robert Madewell, who's been a member for 32 months and is at the amniote level, says, Professor at Liberty University sounds like an oxymoron to me with a Godzilla. Yeah, we'll take a drink for the Godzilla. So, my understanding from Liberty University, and this might be wrong, right? Like, what do I know? I'm not an expert. Is that they are a conservative Christian university that is accredited with, like, actual, like, real accreditation agencies. So, they do issue real degrees, but they are not exactly well known for their science programs, is my understanding. So, if anyone has anything else that they know of, like if you happen to know that, actually, no, their accreditation is from like some accreditation like scam company or something, let me know. As far as I know, it is technically a real school, but like,
that is also what I've heard.
If I were a hiring manager, hiring for a technical field where science was important, and I saw that my applicant was a graduate of Liberty University, I would probably put that on the do not call list and continue on with the other resumes. I mean, it sounds harsh, but like, look, I personally think that creation schools should have their ability to give science degrees revoked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yep. I don't think they should have their ability to give like English lit degrees or business degrees or math degrees or whatever, right? But if you're currently actively promoting pseudoscience, you shouldn't be able to give like science degrees. And I'm sure that might be harsh. I don't care. Oh, this is apparently much better than McToon, or the MC Tune, but you put McToon. Current live stream. You have my undivided attention. Well, I'm sorry that the MC Tune live stream isn't going as well as it could. Look, I don't normally watch MC Tune live, but I watch a lot of his stuff after the fact, usually just because I'm busy while he's live. And I like a fair bit of it. I think he does a pretty good job actually countering creationists. Not creationists, flat earthers. Although there's a lot of overlap, as we said. So I hope it turns around for him. But Jake Nelson has gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. They went to Christine V, Brant Heilman, Nicole, John D, Damon McLagan. Yes, that's the last one. So let's take 5 drinks. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, let's get a little bit more in, and we're going to take a break pretty soon.
By email for over 10 years. When he was the Penn State Origins Club president as an undergrad, he used to get my emails, and actually I used to send my emails under a pseudonym so that I wouldn't get fired from the college where I was teaching, and he would send them all out and distribute them from Penn State so that those email return addresses didn't come back to me where I was teaching at the time.
If you were in danger of being fired, it's for violating one of the terms of your employment contract. So,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell, what that just is Charles Jackson admitting to having committed misconduct per his employment contract while employed at a university.
Which, didn't we discuss that last time? Like, he mentioned specifically where he was, like, teaching or whatever.
Oh, he did, yeah, something like that, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Savage Geological Species Concept Cobra said that Liberty is decent in technical fields like engineering. Fields that touch conservative bugbears are not good. That was there from 2011 to 2015. Oh, well, thank you for the first-hand report. And also, we are still just on track for we could get another avatar at the end of this. So, hey. We already had one that the vote went for I Do What I Want. Last I checked the other one, the vote was leaning towards Mechadapper, but only barely, and that might well have changed in the meantime. So yeah, like it's who knows what's going to happen. It could be anything. I'm actually going to check that poll right now and see where it stands right now. So, it's a 2-way tie between Feeder Dapper and Mechadapper. Cyber Dapper is taking a backseat. Sorry, Cyber Dapper. All right. For $2, off Chapter 1 says Liberty University for a misnomer of the year. Look, I'm not going to talk about the degree to which I agree or disagree with their definition of the word liberty. So, yeah.
Ended up being denied tenure anyway, but that's another...
There's lots of reasons to be denied tenure, and the fact that you were apparently trying to surreptitiously go around your school's, like, probably ethics code. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for you not getting tenure there, Charles Jackson.
Sounds like they did the right thing.
Yeah, basically.
Story. But Marcus then went to Dakota School of Mines and got his master's. Now he's a Dr. Ross. And when he got his doctoral degree from University of Rhode Island, the New York Times picked up that, and it was a big old fiasco because a creationist got a doctoral degree. Well, so did.
That's not a big thing that happens not all the time, but like it's not that uncommon.
Yeah.
There's a few dozen PhD creationists in any of the major creationist organizations, and most creationist schools are staffed full of them.
Yeah.
Lots of us have doctoral degrees.
Yeah, hey, he's right. Yeah, I don't know why
true.
the New York Times would make a big deal out of it. I'll take a drink. You know who's a young Earth creationist who doesn't have a PhD and isn't Kent Hovind, but claims to have a PhD?
Who?
James White.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a fake PhD from a diploma mill. He's like, well, they let me set my own curriculum. Like, yeah, it's a diploma mill, dude. They didn't care. I learned so much reading all the books that I had to do for my PhD. That's great. It still isn't a PhD, man. Yeah, James White is a weird guy. But, oh well.
But next, this woman here, Eugenie Scott, it's such a shame. She looks like a...
Oh, hey, Left-Handed Jedi just joined the channel at the tetrapod level. Everyone, send tetrapods and sessile tunicates. Don't send pelagic tunicates. That's the wrong kind of tunicates. We don't want to scare Left-Handed Jedi off. Thank you very much for the tetrapods and sessile, God-fearing, hard-working, patriotic tunicates.
Nice person, but Dr. Scott is the executive director of the National...
Oh, hey, we'll take a drink.
Like, I've like read stuff about people interacting with her from literally everything I've ever seen where anyone like interviews her or chats with her. Heck, the book I just finished reading, The War on Science by Sean Otto, he met with her, and by all accounts, she seems like a nice person. So,
well, I mean, that's good. I mean, I don't have any negative personal opinions about Eugenie Scott. I have some disagreements about some of her positions in terms of science, but...
Well, that's fair. And I mean, you know, it's not even relevant whether or not she's actually a nice person. She could be a total jerk. Like, I've seen that, you know, people say, like, Bill Nye is not very nice in person. Like, you know, regardless, whatever.
I mean, all things being equal, I'd rather people be nice.
Well, sure. But it's just like, I don't know where this, oh, she's not nice comes from. It's like, what? Huh?
I mean, yeah. All right, but it is time for a quick break. I'm going to grab myself another few mojitos out of the refrigerator. Maybe some more ice. I might, you know, do some biology stuff. You never know. And we will be right back, and I will read out the Left-Handed Jedi gifted memberships when we get back. So, in the meantime, though, please enjoy the musical stylings of one Bent Hovind, friend of the channel, co-host of Kent with Bent. Okay, we are back. Now, we had another 5 memberships come in, which means we are only 95 away from the next Dapper Dinosaur special avatar. Now, Left-Handed Jedi gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, and those went to D2DM, Peyton Dooley, David Berry, Revenant Rye, and Grungivaldi Gurnison. So we will take 5 drinks for that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Carrie Bronson said, let's see, where did I... Carrie Bronson, for $2, says, do sessile tunicates think manta rays are angels? Well, they don't have brains, so no, probably not. That's the tunicates, not the manta rays. Manta rays have brains. Savage Geological Species Concept Cobra for gifted 5 more memberships. Those went to Pibblepunk, Half Dog, Half Canine, Hollyhock, Tinker, Phil, Wayne Gaffney, and the Talus. So that's 5 more drinks, but we're going to read the Pibblepunk super chat real quick before that. Pibblepunk, Half Dog, Half Canine for $2 says, currently at work, but looking forward to watching later. Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a great day at work. And here's 5 more drinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's a lot of mojito. Goodness. It's good though. And hey, we're like like I said, 95 away. But right before we get right back into it, I want to give a quick little message, which is to say, first of all, hey guys, this channel is almost entirely supported directly through the contributions of my viewers and fans. I actually ran some of the math, and like actual channel ads come in at like a bit under 20% of all of the stuff that comes in for the channel. Which is, I mean, it's not enough, right? It's not nothing, but it's not enough. And so virtually the entirety of the fact that this channel is able to keep going as a full-time gig for me right now is entirely due to you guys. And if you're someone who's not currently supporting but is interested in supporting, I have some ways for you to do that easily. And yes, I did notice we just got 10 more gifted memberships from Regios. I will be reading those out. First is the Patreon. The Patreon, you can start at only $1 a month. You can go annually for a 15% discount. You get early access. You can get your names in the credits. You can get access to the supporter-only Discord. There's higher tiers if you want more perks, or if you're just feeling more generous. There's also the channel memberships, which is almost identical, but there's no annual discount, and it starts at $1.99 instead of $1. But it also gets you access to the channel emojis. It gets you the cool little badges after your name. There's all that stuff. It still gets you early access. It still gets you access to the Discord. If an annual or a monthly thing isn't your thing, there's also a merch store. The merch store actually just recently had new merch added. I added some Mecha Dapper merch. So if you want a t-shirt or a hoodie or a mug or something with Mecha Dapper, you can grab it right there. There's also my original avatar, well, not original, but like the classic Dapper Dinosaur default avatar that I use now. That's there. You can get phone cases, hoodies, t-shirts, all sorts of stuff. But if that's not your thing and you're still interested, and I also have a wish list. And as of just basically this week, wish list purchases will also go on to help with new avatars. And there's a lot of great ways. But if none of those are right for you, if you can't afford or you're just not interested in helping financially, that is absolutely fine. Simply watching my videos, preferably more than one in a row, if you can, sharing my videos and liking my videos will help a lot. And I want to say you guys have been stepping up on the shares recently. For a while, my share rate was somewhere below 1%, but it's been over 2% of the number of people who watch my videos per week. And I really appreciate that. That is, more than a doubling of how many shares I'm getting on average per week. But yeah, let's take a look. So, where are we now? Regios gifted 10 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. They went to Off Chapter 1, Tom Phillips, Rhea Jays, Gosh of Heckfire, Arter Ams, Azo64, Turing Test 2, WS Wordsman, MB, and Ian Thomas. I think that covers it. So we'll take 10 drinks for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see. Jester Lord of Fools for $5 says, can the New York Times report back if said YEC does an interview on the subject of their actual PhD? That will be worthy of a world news headline with a Godzilla. Take a drink for the Godzilla. I mean, I honestly would be kind of interested to know what Marcus Ross did for his PhD. I think it would be interesting. Ann Stevens for £5 says, "Keyboard not found. Press any key to continue." Thank you very much. All right. Let's actually dive back into this.
National Center for Science Education, Incorporated, a private, basically hate creation group in their credo and their
creation
statement
group.
of purpose
I love
there
that.
to keep evolution
If you
going.
if you write material that is critical of creationism because it's wrong, that's hate creationism. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh no, scary. Yeah, that's. Jeez. Look. People hate pseudoscience. They hate misinformation. That's a thing, and I think it's fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be like, oh no, people disagree with you about science. Oh, and you're verifiably wrong. Oh, the horrors. No, that's
Quelle horreur.
yeah, quelle horreur. I thought you didn't speak French.
You said fluently. You didn't say at all.
I feel like I've been lied to by Jackson here. I think he actually speaks more French than he's letting on.
Je ne sais pas moi.
Okay.
And keep creation out of the public schools. Dr. Scott commented and said she would never accept a creationist into a doctoral degree program because it would just take too much time to re-educate them.
I mean, okay. As Dapper has pointed out, creationism interferes with almost literally every field of science. So, it would be a little difficult. Yes.
Yeah, I don't like that stance, but I get it. Dr. Tapioca Weasel, who's been a member for 23 months and is at the diapsid level, says, "Hi, Olivia. I couldn't think of something clever to write and saw at Olivia Williams arrived. I'm not a smart weasel." With a Godzilla, a Mothra, and then just a bunch of dapper tetrapods. So we'll take a drink for the kaiju emoji. Or I guess emojis. Alright, and actually, guys, we are well on the way to having the next special avatar. Let me actually just find out exactly how close. And it is... Yeah, we are only 3268 away.
Unbrainwash them and stuff like that. And another professor in Texas said, creationists shouldn't be able to become scientists.
No, I disagree there.
That is bad, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not my position.
I've met multiple and worked with and for people in biology who were formerly creationists. And had they been told early on, oh, sorry, you can't go into science because you're creationist, they probably would still be creationists today.
Yeah. No, the point of colleges should be to educate. And that is just trying to say that, like, oh, well, what if we just didn't educate people, though? And no, that's not what you should be doing. Yeah, no, I'm not okay with any of that. So, I'm with Charles Jackson. That's a bad way to go. Let's see. Goop23 for $5 says, "I hate creation group as opposed to Bad Jackson who loves evolution." Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Like, I'm sure that if you gave Charles Jackson, like, dictatorial control over, say, academia, that there wouldn't be a whole lot of, science accepting people left. So, yeah, it's a tiny little bit of projection here. Just a little bit.
But not Charles Jackson of all people.
No, never.
Which made a professor in Kansas, who was one of the crafters of the pro-evolution Kansas State Board of Education standards, made
So, the science standards. Got it.
him say, that's frightening to think that, even though I'm not a creationist, that's frightening that someone would say something like that. Science
No, yeah, he's right. It is.
is for everyone and ought to be.
True.
Well, Dr. Scott was
Famously
very...
true.
Yeah, no, I'm with that guy from the Kansas State Board of Education, and oddly enough, as rare as it is, I'm with Dr. Charles Jackson on this one. Yeah, no, creation should be allowed into PhD programs if they meet the prerequisites to join them. I hope I'm not being controversial in stating this. And in part for the reason that Jackson just stated. Like, you're going to learn a lot about science. It's going to be hard to maintain your young Earth creationist stances. There were a lot of former young Earth creationists out there who got brought out of that as a result of learning science, right? Like Gutsick Gibbon is one of them. I'm one of them. You were never a creationist, were you? Good Jackson?
I was not.
Okay,
but I can say that when I was at LSU Baton Rouge, one of the grad students in the mammalogy department that I worked in at the time was a former young Earth creationist. Another professor I worked for later was also a former young Earth creationist. Like,
yeah,
it happens.
Yeah. So yeah. But even then, there are parts of science where you can go into and do good scientific work and still be a young Earth creationist, and it really won't matter that much. It'll matter a lot if you think about it too much, but most people don't, right? So, like, if you're like I don't know, if you're working on, like, trying to figure out a good way to describe turbulent flow as opposed to laminar flow, which is still an open thing in physics, right? We have no good way of describing turbulent flow. If you want to go into that as a creationist, go have fun with it, right? I'm not going to tell you no. You might do good work. I don't know. There are plenty of creationists who have worked for NASA and have managed to get probes to other planets. That's great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, your creationism is probably not going to interrupt, like, your calculations about, like, you know, Pasch-Koenig orbital calculations. It's probably not going to matter. So yeah, there are plenty of areas where you can go into science, be a young Earth creationist, and do okay. As long as you don't fully think through all the implications of young Earth creationism, which most people don't. So yeah, no, I'm with Charles Jackson, and I think, and yeah, Good Jackson is with me. Yeah, everyone should have access to the scientific educational opportunities that are afforded to anyone else, even girls.
Very, upset about the fact that Marcus got his doctoral degree. Next, but there's more things.
I am absolutely in no way upset about the fact that Dr. Marcus Ross got a doctorate degree.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
things like this that continue to go on. Look what this guy here says. This is the.
Is this just going to be persecution hour the whole time?
The open-minded university professor mindset we usually hear espoused. Look, our society should be an open society, willing to accept and embrace diversity. I'd like to see more tolerance and open-mindedness in our
comic.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. I mean, it's Dan Letha, right? AIG 2007. Oh, wait, so 2005 is not when this talk was given. It had to have been given post-2007.
Unless these comics are from the future.
Ooh. I suppose it's possible. I can't prove that they didn't come from the future.
Wait, remember, Charles Jackson has time traveled. He went back to the past.
Did he? I mean, I know
didn't
that
he? Didn't
there was
didn't
that,
he like go?
Well, there was that TV show that he was supposed to be in that involved time travel, but I haven't heard anything about that since it was announced.
It's because he solved the problem.
Oh, okay.
He went back in time and he fixed it. It's all good now.
All right, good for him.
There's
I also
no show
noticed that
necessary.
It used the same stock robot model that you can get from Turbo Squid for, I think it's like $50 or $70 or something. They used the same robot in that for the robot there that Power Rangers used in their Dimensions in Danger anniversary special, where Jason David Frank as Tommy fought evil Jason David Frank as evil Tommy the robot, and then right before he's defeated, his like flesh suit melts away and you see the robot underneath right before he's destroyed. And yeah, it's the same robot model. So I just like to think that that creationist sci-fi adventure takes place in the same universe as Power Rangers, and that it's actually like a prequel about like the backstory of evil robot Tommy. Yep. Antediluvian was Eddie Acker in Ryu for $4.99. Says, gasp, girls in science is okay? Better let my female anthropology professors and myself, a female dragon, learning from them that. Yeah, or I think you meant tell my female anthropology professors. Yeah, no, it's turns out that, you are in fact allowed to be a girl in science. What is the world coming to?
Country. Next. So you accept that I'm a born-again, Bible-believing, literal 6-day creationist? Next. Get out and stay out!
Okay, first of all, why would anyone not accept that? You just said that that's what you are. I'm not gonna be like, no, you're not. Whatever.
Yeah, this is, you're right. It's persecution hour.
Yeah, this is just the persecution fetish, right? Which, look, man, if you have a persecution fetish, there are a whole lot of people with, things called dungeons that you can go to, and they will persecute you as much as you consent to. It's fine. But what's not fine is pretending that you're under intense persecution that you're not under in order to gain clout, like, politically. That's not okay. Basically, what I'm saying is that I think that Charles Jackson has some unfulfilled kinks in his life, and that maybe he should go sort that out, and that's fine. Maybe he'll come back and he'll be happier, you know?
I think that's a common theme for.
Yeah, it does seem to be a common thing. Like, I have a video that still hasn't come out yet, but like, it was clearly this guy just using pseudo history and like physics nonsense as a thin veil for his electrostim kink.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw or I think I posted something about it, but there was a video we watched on my channel a few weeks ago with David Berlinski, and he mentions tails would make women more alluring.
Oh,
which
that's just he's just a furry.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Dr. Tapioca Weasel just gifted a Dapper Dinosaur membership, and it went to somebody. Zach B. Hancock. Welcome, Dr. Zach. Just took a drink for it. All right, here we go.
There's the hypocrisy. You see, all things considered except one. You see, that's the way it goes. Next. This man, Richard von Sternberg, has 2 doctoral degrees in evolution.
I know this guy.
Oh?
This is the dude. I've heard about this guy. I'm probably getting the story wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was like working with Stephen Meyer, and he like let a paper of Meyer's that hadn't gotten peer reviewed into a journal that he was like that Sternberg was like the editor of or something like that. And they did not rehire him when his term was up.
I don't blame you. If you bypass the peer reviewed process and just publish a paper, that's not okay.
Yeah, he's.
Sorry.
Pretty sure he still works for like the DI or something like that. But anyways,
Jake Nelson for $10 says, "Is it just me, or is Bad Jackson a living chick tract?" I mean, basically, he thinks chick tracts seem to be the way the world actually works. I am curious to know what degree to which he's anti-Semitic, because chick tracts are fabulously anti-Semitic. So yeah, be an interesting thing to know.
Related subject areas. He was doing research at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C., working as an employee of the National Institutes of Health in Maryland. And he was also, a couple of years ago, editor of a small geology journal that came out of the Smithsonian. But he did the unforgivable in the sight of the evolutionist community.
Okay, do you think he's going to say that he allowed a paper to bypass peer review? Or do you think he's just going to say, well, he allowed a creationist paper through? Because those aren't the same thing. I'm going to bet it's the latter. Yeah, me too. Vadim Slamovsky-Radchenko, who's been a member for 8 months and is at the amnio level, says, "Dapper, now I'm thinking that I could have chatted with Berlinski in some furry chat." Vomit.
It's entirely possible.
You might have. Look, you know what? I'm not going to tell Berlinski that he's not allowed to be a furry. He can do whatever he wants in that regard. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, he wants to be a furry. Look,
in fairness, to his credit, unlike some Christian pastors who rail against homosexuality, I have never heard Berlinski say anything negative about furries. Not even once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to be gay to be a furry.
I'm not implying that he is gay. I'm just saying, unlike Christian pastors who say being gay is bad, then are found out to, be having sex with a male stripper. Berlinski, I don't think you could accuse him of, if you ever find out that he is a furry. We couldn't catch him in that situation because he doesn't talk bad about furries. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, this is a furry supporting channel. You are A-okay to be a furry around here. And also, Fearmonger says, "What do you bet he'll also gloss over the fact that they just didn't renew his contract and lie by saying he was fired?" Yeah, I think that's pretty likely. Asta Antediluvian was Eddie Acker in Ryu for $1.99 says, "This just in, Dapper the Scaly supports furries." I'm not a scaly. If anything, I'm actually a furry because I have a human fursuit that you have all probably seen by now. So you guys are
That
getting
sounds
this
like
all
fake
wrong.
news.
Yeah, like if anything, I'm actually a furry with an ape suit because I'm actually a dinosaur. I feel like you guys are misremembering the order of how this works, right? I'm a dinosaur who put on a few times my human suit. It's like you guys don't even know how this works.
He allowed a creationist, well, actually an intelligent design theorist,
Yeah,
Stephen
because
Meyer.
like Myers is not a creationist.
He's not a young Earth creationist.
He's not a young Earth creationist. He might be. He probably is an old Earth creationist. But yeah, Meyer accepts that the Earth is old, and he'll very proudly say, "Oh, I used to argue with Dwayne Gish on airplane, on the airplane to wherever." It's like, okay. I mean, aside from the fact that he's correct about the age of the Earth, he's wrong about everything else.
Yeah, basically, he's a dishonest hack, you might say.
I would say yes.
I did say in the title of a video series. Jester Lord of Fools for $5 says, "I'm 95% sure that he's about to regret regret asking what electrostim kink is. So here's a few pelagic tuna cans." What is a good way to describe this while not running afoul of YouTube? Okay. So everyone, I think, knows what a kink is. I don't have to describe that. Electrostim. You ever have like physical therapy or know about someone who has physical therapy and they have that device where they put electrodes with some like sticky pad onto parts of the body to stimulate the muscles? Okay. That's basically the same kind of device that someone with an electrostim kink might use for more adult recreational activities.
Okay.
It is something you have to be careful with. It can be dangerous, right? Because, you don't want to go too high on the settings for the device.
Get a little cook.
Yeah, like it can be legitimately dangerous. But it can also be done safely. And some people are into that. And that's fine by me. I'm perfectly okay for you to be into that as long as you're being safe. Now, Ann Stevens just gifted 20 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, putting us well past the number for getting another fancy avatar. And I'm going to take 20 drinks.
Oh my gosh.
But let's read out who it was. Also, Vandalian1998 for $5 or for $4.99 says, "Was just informed someone who participated in my live chat in the past was killed by a drunk driver today." Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh,
that's horrible.
That sucks.
Yeah, I am not a big fan of drunk driving. It is. It's pretty terrible, and unfortunately, it usually means that the person who did the drunk driving is the one who walks away. In part because they're drunk, which means that they're less likely to tense up and get worse injuries. So, yeah. But let's see. Robert Carpenter, these are the new members, or renewed members. Robert Carpenter, Bruce Davis, Levi Matthews, Camer Literature, I think, hopefully. Atheist Carpenter, Andrew Stoll, Rex Felix, 69. Oh, yep, 69 in Roman numerals. Derek Henrik, Ian Francis, Katie Lewis, Sam Stutler, Thick as Frick One, nice. Kaz Nicole, Nadia Yvette Chambers, Mr. Andrat, Ben Joyner, did I just lose it? Yep, John, Interrobang, Eve McNeely, Tell Me More, were all just gifted memberships. And also there was another super chat, or no? Yes, Jake Nelson. "Since you're kink-friendly Dapper, you should offer an adult-sized Dapper onesie." I don't even know where that would come from, but yes, I am familiar with various versions of age play. Here we go. This is just people just like, hey, how many kink things is Dapper aware of? The answer is probably most of the ones you're going to come up with, guys. That doesn't mean I'm into any of them.
He's like, I've been around for a little while.
But yeah, I've been here for a bit. I've been on the internet for a while. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At this point, it's time to open up a new mojito. So here we go. You guys, the fact that I'm aware of these things doesn't mean I'm going to tell you which ones I may or may not be into. That's not a thing that's going to happen here. Sorry to disappoint. So we just got 10, so here's 11. 12. Oh, goodness, this is getting to be a lot. 13. 14. 15. 16. Give me a second. It's a lot of, it's carbonated, so there's a lot of carbon dioxide building up in my, digestive system. 17. 18. 19. 20. Zach B. Hancock says, how many drinks until he will tell us? Well, we're at 71 now, and we're probably not even close. So feel free to just keep donating memberships and super chats that make me drink until I start divulging things I normally wouldn't. You've only got 30 minutes to do it in. Good luck.
Publish a paper in that journal. It was peer-reviewed by 3...
It was sure not peer-reviewed. That is a straight-up lie.
I'll take a drink for that. Just full-on lie right there. Mm-hmm.
Experts in the field. They did find problems, but Dr. Sternberg said...
So it didn't pass peer review, is what you're saying? Okay.
It's like, wait, which is it? Or I guess he did say it was peer-reviewed. He did technically say that.
Okay.
And then they found problems, and it got published anyways.
Right. It's like, it was peer-reviewed. I mean, it failed peer review, but it was peer-reviewed. Okay. Jeez.
You're not wrong, I guess.
Oh, that's so slimy of a thing to say. I hate that so much.
I think that even though there were some problems in the paper, we ought to bring up this discussion in the literature because it's being discussed in circles in the scientific community anyway. Well, you'd have thought that he allowed some...
I mean, I honestly don't remember what the paper was, but knowing Meyer, if it was in a geology journal, it was probably something along the lines of his usual, like, the Cambrian explosion can't be explained by evolution crap.
Yeah, that boringly dumb stuff.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that's what it was, and that there are so many different ways to critique that argument.
Oh yeah,
the funny thing about it is, like, when Meyer finally consolidated like all of his very bad arguments on that topic in Darwin's Doubt in 2013, he had to then produce a second book defending Darwin's Doubt from all of the critiques that it incurred.
Amazing.
He actually, I should say, he didn't even really, he asked, like, if the other people at the Discovery Institute would write a second book for him defending his book.
Yeah.
It's called, like, I think it's called, like, Defending Darwin, or Debating Darwin's Doubt, or something like that. Yeah, which is just kind of amazing on its face, honestly.
It is. Dr. Tapioca Weasel asks for $5, so how much for a Dapper Tutu? That would be $195.71. More. It's not an easy thing to get. But yeah, if we got that in the next 27 minutes, then on Saturday I will put on my human suit and put a tutu on the human suit. I'll also have to give my human suit a little bit of a shave.
Kind of, endorsement of Nazi concentration camp.
Jeez, take a drink. I have no idea how that's supposed to connect to any of this, but yeah, thanks.
Or something, because the entire evolutionist community, the ACLU, the National Center for Science Education, Eugenie Scott and her whole crew came down on him like thunder. Then phone calls from the Smithsonian were going every day to National Institutes of Health calling for his resignation.
Because he
Dr.
did not follow the rules and terms that are laid out in his job description. He brazenly bypassed the very well laid out process by which papers are accepted to journals, and he did it for a well respected institution like the Smithsonian, so of course everyone came down on him. Like, you're held to a higher standard, my guy.
Yeah. Alex Markle says you must be really into edging your partner because we're all desperate to know what kinks you're aware of. I mean, I guess you could ask which ones, but if it's not a super chat, I'm probably not going to just keep talking about it. Jeez, you guys are way too into my non-professional life here.
Is going to be featured in the new movie Expelled that's coming out. Go
Okay,
to the
so
website.
this is before Expelled came out. Now it's like sort of a mystery, like when was this talk given? So it's post 2007, but before Expelled. If anyone can find out when the movie Expelled, No Intelligent Allowed came out.
When did Expelled No Intelligence? Okay, let's see. That came out in No Intelligent. Oops.
What time? When?
Expelled. No, 2008. So it's
2008.
between.
So it's
it's like it's 2007.
Yeah, okay. 2007, 2008 is basically when this came out.
Yeah,
Maybe
did it,
early 2008, but yeah.
Expelled the movie and .com, and you'll see on Darwin's birthday in February. That movie's going to be coming out. It's going to be showcasing the idea that in higher academia, if you don't follow the Darwinist party line, you're out.
So
I mean,
that
it failed
movie,
spectacularly at that.
It sure did. Yeah, not only was it bad, like that movie is the source of so many like stupid tropes that get repeated to this day.
Mm-hmm.
My least favorite of which is the like Richard Dawkins appeals to the existence of aliens to explain life, and it's like, for one, just if you watch the clip, that is so obviously not what he's saying. If like you have even a shred of honesty within yourself, that is very obviously not what he's saying. But also, we know he doesn't think that because you can read his books where he talks about the origin of life, and he never invokes aliens. So like,
yeah, it was literally just him desperately trying to find a way to answer the question: if you could think of a way in which intelligent design is true, what would it be? And he's like, well, I suppose, maybe. And he's giving, like, all these, like, hedging his bets kind of things where, like, I don't really believe this. And then, I don't want to say Bill Stein, but, like, Bill Stein's editors just dishonestly cut him. And that's been a talking point since forever. Savage... Well, it's not Savage Cobra. What's the whole thing? Savage Geological Species Conflict Cobra for $2 says Ben Stein edits like Ray Comfort. Yeah, basically. Or maybe they just have the same editorial staff. Editing staff. Editorials is different than editing. Sorry, my bad. English is a stupid language. Let's all start going with Klingon. Okay, here we go. Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna start a poll. Going forward, what language should I stream in? Federation Standard, Klingon, or Turtle? Okay, guys, be careful with your vote.
I don't know. It happened to me. Happened to Dr. Sternberg. They crucified...
See, it didn't happen to Sternberg, and I don't think it happened to you either.
Their own. He was banned from using the collections at the Smithsonian Museum, and so could not continue his research.
So, yeah, no, he was not banned. That's not what happened. His employment was not like reestablished, or he wasn't rehired for that position when his term came up. So
yeah,
which
also,
I honestly can't blame them. You know,
Vadim Smovsky Redchenko says High Gothic or bust. Look, High Gothic is just bad Latin. Yeah. One of my least favorite bits of High Gothic is the Night Lord's war cry or battle cry, which, according to all the 40k lore, is Ave Dominus Noctis. But like that's not how you would. Or sorry, no, it's Ave Dominus Nox. But it should actually be Ave Domine Noctis, which really pisses me off, and that's why I hate High Gothic, because it's just Latin. But if you don't know how to use Latin.
Ended up going on CNN and saying, look, the word on the street is that creationists are always censoring people. What really happened was I was censored by my own fellows.
I mean, creationists verifiably are censoring people, though, because you can just look at the submission guidelines for their journals, which require you to have a preconceived conclusion that is not based on the evidence in order to even submit a paper. right?
Mhm.
What you're complaining about is that someone who submitted a paper to a journal that didn't have that, but that didn't pass peer review, had his paper published anyway. So, also, you guys were voting a lot for Turtle, and I'm going to give you a heads up. I don't speak Turtle, so if you guys want me to stream in Turtle, it's going to be tricky. Although Federation Standard is winning on top of that, so I guess most people do not want me to stream exclusively in Klingon. There's actually a guy who does a channel that's exclusively in Klingon. He's out there. Has he been on the channel? I don't think he has been on the channel. Might be fun to get him on the channel.
Evolutionist, and now he's an intelligent design theorist himself. He has come.
He always was.
Yeah,
He
I'm just
he
gonna take
always
a drink
was.
for like, before he wasn't, but now he is. Okay.
He was a dedicated agnostic before the evolutionists.
Savage Geological Species Concept Cobra for $2 says, Romanus eum domus. People called Romanus, they go the home. Yeah. I love that scene. Oh, what a great scene in The Life of Brian. If you haven't seen The Life of Brian, go check it out. It's great.
It is a good movie.
Our side because of how he was treated. Well, anyway, that's Dr. Sternberg's story.
Yeah.
This is an article
I don't buy that.
Yeah, no, that's the fake version of Dr. Sternberg's story that is helpful to you but isn't actually true. Which is basically everything that's helpful to you there, Dr. Charles Jackson. None of it's true.
Mm-hmm.
From the New York Times just this June. Look at what's happening. Darwin still rules, but some biologists dream of a paradigm.
Okay, so this is a reference to like the extended evolutionary synthesis crowd, which has its problems, as Zach Hancock in the side chat well knows. But this is not okay. So the extended evolutionary synthesis crowd is not like creationism is true. They're like their primary thesis is that the current mechanisms of evolution are not sufficient to explain all biodiversity, and so they want to add more what they consider mechanisms to evolution to explain biodiversity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not intelligent design.
Nope.
It's not creationism. It's other purely naturalistic mechanisms.
Yeah. Jake Nelson for $5 says, I don't care what your kinks are. I'm just glad to have a safe space to joke about mine. AIG is a bag of Richard Carriers. Nice. Take a drink. Yeah, we do not stand Richard Carrier here at this channel. Especially after he strawmanned me. Like, Richard Carrier has strawmanned me. What a weird thing to have happened.
It was, I mean, if you talk about Jesus, it's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, look, my thing is, like, be safe and be consensual. If you're doing both of those things, then hey, have fun. If you're not doing one of those things, then get your act together. Especially if it's the consensual part, and by get your act together, I mean go to jail. So, Goop23 for $2 says, breaking news, Brandon Lee Mulligan is a dad now. Well, congrats to Brandon Lee Mulligan.
Nice.
I hope that Brandon makes a good dad. Prixie, long names are fun. Sub to Dabber Dinosaur for more. Purple for $2 said, is Unihuman suit a kink stream? Terms of service? No, that's just a different avatar that I can appear in sometimes as my human suit. Yeah. It's because the tutu around here doesn't fit on my dinosaur form. So, I can't really wear it around my dinosaur form or it just won't, you won't be able to see it. So, and it might break.
Shift. Remember what I said? A paradigm is a lens through which you see everything. Of course, all new data that comes in science, I interpret through the lens of creation science. I have a creationary paradigm. They have an evolutionary.
Creationary is a new word for me.
Yeah. But also that's not what they mean when they say there's like a paradigm shift in evolution. I really in general don't like the concept of like everything in science happens in like the Kuhnian paradigm shift. I don't like that version of the history of science. Just not a fan of it.
Fair. Also, Jake Nelson says safe, sane, and consensual. Yeah, I mean, that is the typical saying. Although I feel like sane and safe have a whole lot of overlap, and they're not all that different. I mean, I guess there's a sense of, like, don't get so wrapped up into your, like, various RP kinks that they become, like, your entire life. I guess maybe that's it. Whatever. I'm not in charge of any of this.
Paradigm, but they're about to shift the entire nature of
No, they're not. That's not even close to what's happening with the extended evolutionary synthesis.
the way evolution is. Look, a major revision to Darwin could change an intellectual zeitgeist, or spirit of the time, more than half a century
Thank you.
old. You see?
Okay, again, this is because the proposition by the extended synthesis crowd is that there are other mechanisms of evolution that are not being properly studied to the extent that they would say is good or correct.
Yeah.
But that is like currently being studied, which I think we'd all agree that they're wrong in that, and they can't really. It's not really a defensible position. Do what?
I would agree. I don't know if everyone would agree.
I mean, yeah, I think most of us here who are familiar with this group would agree that, like, the things that they propose that are, like, they say are not being studied are and have been studied for decades. And when you ask them, like, okay, well, what more would you like us to do? They don't really have an answer. It seems they're just kind of like, do more.
What I would like you to do is
what?
to change the name of the theory that you're operating under. That's what it seems to come down to.
Basically. Yeah.
Which
They're
is like,
I want to
all
be
right.
the guy who was behind the new name for evolution. Is kind of it. It's like, okay,
It's just-
cool.
Yeah, like, okay, no. Carrying on. Yeah, the extended evolution, and I just love that Charles Jackson is like, the extended evolutionary synthesis guys are my guys, but none of them would claim him. None of them would want anything to do
They
with
all
this guy.
dislike him immensely.
Right. Oh.
They're about to have a big shift. Now, so I'm not making this stuff up to you.
Okay, this was in 2007. It's currently 2024. Has that actually happened there, Jackson? Oh, also, we forgot to drink for a correct prediction. When you predicted exactly what he was going to talk about with the von Sternberg story. Yeah, we forgot to drink about that.
You're right. I totally forgot about that. Okay.
There's a prediction drink. But so yeah, in the intervening 17 years? Is that how long it's been? Am I doing my math right?
Yeah.
Yep. In the intervening 17 years, have we changed the name of evolution? Have we had a paradigm shift in evolutionary biology? Are we all now just ignoring natural selection and genetic drift and in favor of endosymbiosis and epigenetics and niche construction? I mean, has any of this happened?
I don't think so.
No, not really. Partially because we're already taking into account things like endosymbiosis and niche construction and epigenetics. Those are still being studied. Those aren't being disregarded. So, Fearmonger says, this sounds a lot like a Trojan source. It might be, but I'm not currently going to look it up. Plus, I've already had 76 drinks. I don't want to die. Jeez.
They really are in so much trouble, even they are realizing, guys, we got to do some fancy footwork, and quick, because the whole ship is sinking. Next.
That's not okay.
even
That's
close
not
to
really
true.
in any way, shape, or form what the extended evolutionary synthesis was about. But okay,
Nor is it what the
main.
mainstream would say. Like, no one would agree with this except the creationists.
Right.
Like, no one in the extended evolutionary synthesis types are like, oh no, common ancestry might not be true. Like, that's not the position of any of them.
Right.
I mean, sure, you have, like, people like Lynn Margulis who's like, no, it's all endosymbiosis. And it's like, not buying that, but okay.
Yeah.
Good job, Mrs. Is it Doctor? She's got a doctorate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, Dr. Margulis. Thanks for proposing that as an idea that we've taken on board, but we're going to leave behind your crazy idea that that's just the primary driving force in all of evolution.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry.
Well, here's the way, and I mentioned this, I showed you this last night. Here's the way that the evolutionary tree of life, or our ancestors, our family tree, with all the missing...
I see a whole lot of not missing things there, but okay.
Missing links, it showed up in 2002. Ian Tattersall is a well-known...
So this was already 5 years out of date. Okay.
Expert on Neanderthals. All the way back to the Sahelanthropus chadensis found in 2002 in Chad, and the...
That is the least virgin of all the hominins. Just gonna put that out there.
Ardipithecus ramidus, Ardipithecus cadaba, Auroran tuganensis, all supposed to be really in the same genus, and
Wait, excuse me? They're all supposed to be in the same gene? Based on what?
Then why are they in 3 different genera? I'm just taking a drink for this random assertion. What just happened? Why are
I don't even remember him ever saying anything like that in his like actual anthropology talks.
Yeah, that's just all nonsense as far as I can tell. They should totally be in 3 different genera. Or no, sorry, all in the same genus. Like, on the basis of... No, nothing. We got nothing.
And then since Milford Wolpoff and the Washington Post and many other researchers say that Chadensis was really just a monkey and didn't have anything to do with us.
I mean, you're just a monkey, Charles Jackson.
Doesn't have anything to... Based on... I've literally never seen, like, a phylogenetic analysis that, like, puts Sahelanthropus outside of hominins.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What? What does that even mean?
Rosina
What do you mean?
For $4.99 says, I like emojis with my sushis while watching TV with a family of deers. And then there's a zombie hug. And deer are cool. And sushi is cool. And so are emojis. I like all of these things. Actually, I had sushi the other day, but it was like grocery store sushi. Which is... It's not bad, but like it's not great. So...
Well, one of my coworkers and I, we went and got sushi while we were still in our aquarium garb.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did it feel weird to be eating things that you might otherwise be displaying at your work?
Oh, it wasn't the first time.
Fair enough. And I'll bet it's not actually weird.
And it won't be the last.
Oh, and I did end the poll. Let me scroll to where I actually ended it. Going forward, what language should I stream in? Turtle, 54%. Federation Standard, 30%. Klingon, 14%. You guys just don't like Klingon. I get it.
That would knock all of them out if they're all in the same genus.
No, what? How would that knock any of them out of contention for being hominins just because they're in the same genus? What's the logic there? He's just saying things.
He's just saying things. He is just saying things.
Like, oh man, if we put these 3 taxa in the same genus, then therefore they wouldn't be hominins? I'm sorry, do you think that being a hominin is dependent on how many different genera there are? Because that doesn't even make sense. That's not how anything works.
Dapper, don't you remember how at the very start of this, he said that changing the name of something doesn't actually change any of the characteristics of that thing?
Yes, with Paluto.
Yes, with Paluto. He literally said that. He refuted his own argument earlier in the speech.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I'm taking another drink for that. That's too awesome. Alex Markle says Klingon text is just discount Cyrillic. I do not see the links between the Klingon alphabet as it's currently used and Cyrillic. Other than that, they're both alphabets. Like, I'm not seeing it. Oh, Fearmonger and Jillian got bingos. Congratulations. Savage Geological Species Concept Cobra for $2 says, Error 404, logic not found. Seriously. That was just incomprehensible. I have no idea how he thinks that is a good argument. Just, wow.
The Australopithecus afarensis, the famous Lucy fossil right in the middle there. And then right after it, Australopithecus africanus, a million years later, according to their dating systems. And yet, after a million years, it unevolved. It actually, evolution went backwards and it became more like a chimp. And that was their story.
What?
Yeah,
No, what he's saying is that there were more basal members of Australopithecus around at the same time as more advanced more derived members of Australopithecus, which is what we would expect.
Right.
That's all he's saying. And like, yeah, there was a spectrum of how derived Australopithecus was at any given time. Oh my god! Hold the horses! Evolution is... No, that's just what evolution would predict. I am so tired of creationists pointing to things that evolution would predict and then saying, therefore, no evolution, or alternately pointing to things that evolution would say is impossible and saying, that would be evidence of evolution. It's not how anything works, guys. You really need to rethink how you're doing all this. I'm speaking to the creationists here, not my audience. You guys are wonderful.
Appears to be in the wrong part of the fossil record, or at least it appears that it did exactly the opposite thing that evolution should do.
Evolution in no way says that things have to become more and more derived over time and that all members of a lineage must become more derived simultaneously. I'm just taking a drink. I can't with this guy. Rosalie Keller for $9.99 says, I'm glad I caught this live after/while eating at Denny's Japan. Yay! I didn't even know Denny's had Japanese locations. That's despite having been to Japan a few times. I like Japan. I would go back to Japan. I get some sushi. And, gohan. And, sake. That's like, that covers like all of my Japanese food words right there. Sushi, gohan, sake. Yeah. That covers it. Sorry, I don't speak a whole lot of Japanese.
But that's okay. Evolution just went backwards for a million years, that's all.
No, that's not a thing. It's just that one lineage of Australopithecus, I don't remember which species, but one lineage of Australopithecus didn't have that much morphological change, while other lineages did. This is not surprising or unpredicted or in any way significant in terms of demonstrating or failing to demonstrate the accuracy of the predictions of evolution in terms of human evolution and human ancestry, or common ancestry in general.
So no problem, you see. And then the Homo habilis, or handyman, which they have now found in the same layer as Homo erectus. They used to think habilis turned into erectus, and erectus turned into us. And just this August, they found these two in about the same date.
I mean, that is why are there still monkeys? That's what that is.
Yeah, that is exactly what that is. Yep.
Because habilis does in fact precede erectus stratigraphically. And so saying, oh, well, how can they find one when they find its the descendant species in the same stratum?
Impossible. This is a big problem.
Why are there
for
still
evolution.
monkeys?
Yeah, it's just why are there still monkeys? Opie for $1.99 says, has a creationist ever run an EPB on Barrowman? I'm not sure what we mean by EPB. Let me know what you mean by EPB. I'm not positive. Some of that might be the 80 drinks. But yeah, we're gonna start wrapping up here. All right, so Opie, tag me and let me know what EPB stands for, because otherwise I don't have an answer to that question. Jackson, what do you have coming up? You have anything coming up, like, I don't know, tomorrow?
Yeah, release a new video, the next in the Ancestors Tale series. No, just kidding. I mean, that will be happening, but probably later in the week, or maybe even next week. Tomorrow, the one and the only Dapper the Dinosaur,
That's me,
and I will be discussing, talking with a young Earth creationist on. It'll be on my channel, and I'm sure you'll upload it to yours at some point.
at some point, yeah.
Yeah, and then it'll be a good time. It'll be fun. Everyone's gonna have a good time.
I agree. I think it will be fun.
Because I realized yesterday, yeah, I think it was yesterday, that the last time Dapper and I had talked to a creationist was 10 or on like together, channel. The two of us together. Yeah, I'm sure Dapper's probably talked to him more recently than me. Was 10 whole months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Which is bananas. They don't ever want to talk to us anymore. Can't figure out why.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
It is so strange.
Odd. All right, well, so what's coming up on this channel? So this is actually going to be pretty busy. So again, if you want to, come see me on Jackson Wheat's channel. He should be linked
Yeah.
in the description of this video, so go click on his name and subscribe to Jackson. Then also on Wednesday, if you go over to my other channel, Top Hats Off, I should be streaming some Power Rangers Jungle Beasts RPG actual play. That will be fun. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we should be back hopefully tomorrow, assuming no one backs out who hasn't already backed out. But then on Thursday, the 25th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, Our Young Universe Part 2 of 2 with Jake Hebert will be coming out. That'll be premiering. Then on Saturday, I have 2 more shows. I have a Dapper Reacts at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, as well as later on, after that, I have a show, let's see, which is the Cambrian Bunny Awards nomination ceremony, and that should be coming out at 6 p.m. Eastern, Pacific, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Yep, so it's going to be a busy week for the Dapper Dinosaur channel. For me specifically, I'm going to need to take a couple extra days off, I think, next week, just to recover, but that's okay. And also, if you are someone who has early access, currently, I have a video in the works that I will be hopefully editing on, like, maybe partially tomorrow and the next day. And so, fingers crossed for a Friday or so release of a new video for early access people. But, like, it might not be Friday. It could be, like, Tuesday or something. I'm not positive. But with that, guys, thank you so much, you guys. We've earned another special avatar. I'm going to put up another poll probably tomorrow because the current poll hasn't ran a full day yet. And yeah, we're going to have 3 special avatars in a row. The first one is actually already the video that I'm going to be working on editing later on this week for early access. And then, yeah, we'll have 2 more after that. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, if you are interested, we'll be doing Power Rangers over on my Discord server in a few minutes. It won't be completely immediate, but it'll be soon. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. Stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your week. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. If we have fewer than 118 viewers on Jackson's live stream with me, I will know that you didn't show up. Yeah, you specifically, Jeff.
Oh, did we say what time it is?
Say what time it is.
Well, currently it's 10:01 my time. No, okay. So the debate tomorrow that we're gonna have is at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is the real and correct time, unlike
Which is
Dapper's
also
fake
2
time.
p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be fun.
There you go. All right, send me that link as soon as you can, Jackson, so I can, like, put out a community post and whatnot.
Oh, for the show tomorrow? Okay,
Yeah.
well, I could do that right now.
Awesome. All right, everybody, we will see you all hopefully tomorrow, and if not, then definitely, of course, on Thursday. Talk to you all later. Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Ben Tovand, Phil Ravara, Tapioca Weasel, Whispers, Denny5252, Elaron Teller, Horseflesh, Ian Chen, Kelvin Brostock Van Manen, Landon Knoll, Mabbity Babbity, Monkey They Them, Robert Carpenter, Sphincter of Doom, Vollus, Strawberry Vein, and Ita V. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 10% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos, often 3 to 5 months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.